principles.
And would that be conceivable for American politics as a whole, left and right, to sit back and watch Israel as its most expensive kind of military asset in the last 70 years to be destroyed or no? So in a sense, isn't Netanyahu's expected trick was to lure to do something that America's intervention is absolutely necessary and absolutely inevitable?
Yeah, and had this been a different president, maybe it would have succeeded. But we have a president who ran on a election platform of peace. And the majority of his supporters voted for him to keep America out of wars. And many of these Americans aren't your traditional pro-Israeli crowd. They're pro-America crowd. And so we have a situation here where Israel has started a war with a surprise attack. It's been called a Pearl Harbor type event. If you're an American, you know what Pearl Harbor means. It's the day of infamy, when the Japanese launched a surprise attack against us. We don't celebrate this day as a day of amazing Japanese military victory. We celebrate it as a day of infamy, when we were attacked while we were asleep on a Sunday. Israel now has done that. And there's hardly any Americans that go, well, that's a good thing. Most Americans are going, no. So Israel now has tried to
bragging about having done September 11.
Yeah, bingo. Thank you. Now you have the Israelis trying to make the case, well, we had to do it. They're trying to replicate the case of going to war with Iraq, the threat of weapons of mass destruction, the threat of nuclear weapons. The problem is with Iraq, the CIA was playing the game. They issued false intelligence assessments, etc. Here we have the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, saying Iran's not a threat. There is no nuclear weapon program. Even the director general of the IAEA, who is complicit in using the IAEA as a tool against Iran, and passed, a finding of non-compliance that led to a board decision by the Board of Governors that helped, give Israel to say, look, we have to take action. He now says, no, even their non-compliance, it wasn't about nuclear weapons. There is no nuclear weapons program in Iran. So now, if you're the president trying to explain why we're going to go to war against Iran, it's not going to be because we're here to support Israel. It had to be because Iran represented a threat. But when your director of national intelligence says that Iran doesn't represent a threat, it becomes harder to sell that war. And it becomes harder to get American sympathy to Israel when Israel launched the surprise attack. Iran, it's not just that Iran was evil lurking there. Iran was in the process of negotiating a satisfactory agreement about how to eliminate the threat of an Iranian nuclear weapon. Ali Shamkhani, 2 days before he was murdered by the Israelis, did an interview where he said, we're willing to sign a treaty that says, this isn't about just saying the fatwa of the supreme leader. We're willing to sign a treaty that says we will never have nuclear weapons. We're willing to have our enrichment capped at 3.75% for just what we need for fuel. We're willing to let American inspectors participate in the inspection process. Iran was willing to do everything, and they were preparing for the negotiations on a Sunday when they were bombed on a Friday. The perfidy of this. Perfidy is a crime, a war crime. The Israelis, also committed a war of aggression, which, according to the Nuremberg precedent, is the highest war crime imaginable, because from a war of aggression, all other crimes emanate. It's very difficult to sell the need for America to sacrifice itself on behalf of Israel when Israel has behaved in a manner that's totally indefensible, totally a manufactured case. So, well, I'm not saying that we won't go to war against Iran. I'm saying that it's not. I know there's people out there say, well, America's under the control of Israel. Not as much as people think we are. We still love America more than we love Israel, most of us. And I don't think Americans are willing to sacrifice their security for Israel.